And I'm like, ooh, make it better, even better. There you go. For mature skin, concealer can be very, very tricky. A lot of people out there giving a lot of advice and a lot of ways to do this. I have found a couple ways that have worked. I checked with ChatGPT. So I tested ChatGPT versus MyBot. There were 5 recommendations from Chat. There are 4 recommendations from Moi. MyBot was spot on, which makes me very happy because we're going to launch very soon. If you want to be on the waitlist for BritBot, so you can ask me anything at any time, you can sign up for the newsletter. First of all, mature skin. I am 45 years old. The things that you want to look for based off of my experience in testing way too many concealers over the past 8 years, texture. And I'm not going to say what you think I'm probably going to say. So normally you look for things that are lightweight, like I have this here. This is one from ChatGPT. They recommended the Tower 28 concealer. I like this concealer. I like it as a multitasker. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it for mature skin types. We have crepier skin. We have lines, fine lines. We have the privilege of aging, yes, but those things do develop. And I get them in the inner corners, like specifically on this eye. One eye is always worse than the other one. It gets a little dry, things like that. So when I have something that's kind of a wetter formula that has a lot of silicones in it, it gets into those creases real fast. A lot of feedback on the interwebs is to use that. I disagree based off of what's worked for me. I actually like the creamier concealers. It is about application. My mom, who is in her mid-70s, came to me and said, I found out you can't wear powder with concealer. And like, you need to look for this. And I was like, who told you you can't wear powder with concealer? You can. Ingredients. There's a lot of oils inside. Sometimes the emulsification process is totally fine and you're good. Sometimes it's not. I'm going to cover that with an RMS product that ChatGPT recommended. Great product for, again, multitasking, but under the eye, it creases like a mother. And the last thing I'll say is not even looking for on a product page, but there is a priming step. I don't use primers. I'm not against primer. I just don't like using them myself. But I do like to prep with a bit of hydration for the cream concealers that I'm using. That could be an eye cream. That could be a cream that just you move up to under the eyes, because I've yet to see an eye cream show significant results. These are the products that Chat recommended. Kosas. I do think Kosas is a good option. Try a very small amount at a time and then press it in with your finger. You can use a brush on that. Something like this. This is not popular opinion, but I really like using the Fit Glow Teddy brush. Take it out, put it on the back of your hand, take the brush and just rub it into the formula, and you can call it buffing, whatever you want to call it that makes you feel better. Get it in there and you're going to think there's nothing on this brush. There is absolutely something on the brush. The last 2 from ChatGPT were the Ilia the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. That will crease on you, probably more than any of the other ones that I've mentioned. In my opinion, it's not a bad concealer per se, but it's super duper creasy. The RMS on Cover Up, for me, this is a very natural way to even out the skin on your face, cover up a blemish or redness or spots or dots. There's coconut oil in here, not necessarily a bad thing. However, under the eye, you're going to get a little bit of shine. You're going to get a little bit of a crease. It creases. This one creases for me. These are the 5 products that I would recommend instead. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite ones to begin with. This is the spot stick from Jillian Dempsey. I never hear people talk about this. This is just a stick form of cream concealer. It's a little bit slicker than the other ones out there. So this is what I did. I had one of my best friends in the whole entire world. She sat down in this chair and she goes, she's the same age as me. She's like, I cannot get concealer right. And she doesn't have dark circles. She doesn't have I have bags under my eyes genetically. I've always had them. So I was like, wait. You take an eyeshadow brush. This is the BK201. It is so easy to work with and do this. You take your little spot stick, you just kind of like swirly. Definitely need a PhD to do this. And you take that and you think, okay, I'll apply it directly. You can, or if you really want to make sure that you don't mess around, you can pre-buff on your finger or on your hand. You're going to be like, there's nothing left. There's always product left. And so I'm very, very lightly, I'm not pressing, I'm just sort of like gliding it into the corner. And this is exactly what I did on Sarah. So I would just do this for a little bit. You like talk, meditate, think about life. Maybe don't think about life. What you're going to eat for dinner. That's what I usually do. Let it be. The littlest amount goes a long way, and then you can build it up. So you're like, pretty, Brett, you have you have other stuff on your face. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Let's take it off. While I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you the next couple, or else this video is going to be 18 years long. The alternate for the Ilia concealer gives this veil of coverage. Iris and Romeo, if you've followed me for any length of time, you've probably heard me mention this. It is yet to be knocked off its pedestal. This is more of it does have silicones in it. It is more of that veil of coverage that you're going to get under the eye. Very little bit goes a long way here. Just remember that as a rule. If there's one thing you remember, it's just use less than you think you need to use. I use the Fit Glow brush for this. I do it in the corner, I do it in the outer edge, and then I press it in with my finger. Very, very, very rarely need to set this, which is such a beautiful thing. I use shade 4. I do want to try shade 3 just because I've never done that yet. I did mention priming, and I mentioned it in accordance with the creamier side of things. Alpine has a really lovely under eye cream. Goes well with everything that I've mentioned, which is impressive because sometimes eye creams can be too dense, too thick. And I just sort of press it on. Let this sit for a second usually. This is kind of going against my flow, but I let it do its thing for a minute. Then here's what I do with the Jillian Dempsey. So I can do this without even looking. I'm looking in my viewfinder. And let me tell you, it is not the easiest way to apply makeup, but she's come a long way, okay? This used to look very different. I barely touched. I would say when you're building, do the back of the hand trick so you're not applying too much, because I think we get a little overzealous. I'll speak for myself. I get a little excited and I'm like, ooh, make it better, even better. There you go. The next that I'm going to talk about is corrector first. I like this because, and it doesn't have to just be this corrector, but this is one of my favorite correctors. You've heard me talk about it if you're a subscriber, but I like this because the correctors do multitasking for you. A peach corrector does wonders for anything blue, or I believe it's blue. It cancels out the dark circles is what I'm getting at. And I really like that. It's again, not giving that stark contrast, which sometimes you can get in concealers. And I've been guilty of it too. And I don't think that's the most flattering option for us, especially when we're aging, because anything light is pulled forward, anything dark recedes. That was an art class thing. I don't know why. Sometimes you just remember stuff. But the Fit Glow Peach Corrector is just, I think this is on its way out. That's the peach. And I just take it on the old Fit Glow. And then, you know, I would not put it on top of another concealer, but it's the same thing. And the texture of this is very lightweight, but it is not a wet texture. It is like a very lightweight cream. So it's not the slippy, slidey, silicone heavy product. Probably a helpful distinction, I hope. If any of this is helpful, by the way, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. It makes a huge difference over here. The last option that I'm going to talk about with a different priming step. So this is a cream, another cream option that I've been kind of going back to recently. This is the Air Perez Arnica All Over Pot. This is like something I haven't talked about here in a while, but I have been testing it. Something that I've liked to do, if it's not the Alpine eye cream that I mentioned, take this little puppy. This is the Rare Beauty Positive Light Under Eye Brightener. This is probably not going to be in the clean section. It's a little bit different for me. It's a lot of plastic. I usually don't love that. A lot of these are a lot of plastic, whatever. This is an incredible primer that brightens as well. So sometimes I can just put this on if I get a good night's sleep or something, and I'm good. This is like a lightweight gel wash cream. Sometimes if it's the end of the day, I'll just take it and I will put it with my finger in the corner just to brighten things up. It's hard to mess up, which is another reason why I love it. So this is another option that's also going to give you that brightness, but it's not going to make it shiny. It's not going to make it oily. And then you can take something like the Air Perez and just go back to this situation. The reason I wanted to add this here too is because this is a pot concealer. Obviously, you can see that. However, this is drier. It's not as oily. And then this is also going to be a little bit more on the matte side. Kind of see in the coverage. It's kind of impressive. The other thing that I like to do is I can use a bigger brush, put a moisturizer on my skin, put a little bit of this on the foundation brush and just press it in where I need extra spot coverage. Melts with that tinted moisturizer on top. So it does the whole evening out if you want it to. It's a little light for that for me. This is shade Honey. Shades will also be listed below if you need it, but that is Which one am I? That is some pretty strong coverage. This one I used on my friend Sarah. I also used this for my mom, who, like I mentioned, is in her mid 70s. She walked away and was like, it wasn't like I just put it on 40-year-old skin. I put it on 76-year-old skin. I've put this on a lot of different people in this chair. They have yet to want to have anything filmed for YouTube, or else I would have done it, but I respect their wishes. They're like, absolutely not. You can see more of my favorites back on the site under Brits Picks. All my favorites all in one spot. Don't forget to sign up for my free newsletter if you are not already subscribed. Other concealer reviews, if you want to just like grab a popcorn and dig on in, those are coming up real soon. Thanks for watching. I will see you right back here in like a hot minute. Until then, bye.